Welcome back to the Palace. This is Crown Vic. Today we're going to be talking about Virgo. Why are you here? Virgo edition. So, in talking about Virgo, we're talking about someone who is, astrologically speaking, a perfectionist. Right? So the Virgo is all about the details, seeing the smallest details that other people may or may not overlook. So this is the Virgo tendency and the Virgo trait. So Virgo is ruled by the planet Mercury. And so not only is Virgo ruled by Mercury, but also Gemini. So it's kind of the two planets that rule the same planet. So you'll see are ruled by the same planet. You'll see that a few times in astrology, such as Saturn ruling both Capricorn and Aquarius, and you have Mars ruling Aries, and also Mars ruling the sign of Scorpio. You also have Jupiter ruling the sign of Pisces, and as well as the sign of Sagittarius. So when we talk about Virgos, ruled by Mercury as well as Gemini. So the Gemini is all about communication. All right, so and that's not only Gemini's, but Mercury itself. So if you see your astrological planet, such as Mercury, Mercury is all about the communication. Well, how well are you communicating with other people, and what are you communicating on? So the Virgo's communication is going to be slightly different from the Gemini's way of communicating. The Virgos, it's all about punctuations, right? They're all about making sure that what is said is not only said in a, make sure that it's said in a structure, not only in a structured and organized way, but it's also very precise. They're also very thorough in how they communicate with someone else. All right, so thorough is a little bit different from being deep like a Scorpio. So thorough, as far as I've done my research, I know, as far as the litigation is concerned. So litigation, such as the sixth house, which is ruled by litigation, and things dealing with day-to-day life. So the Virgo is very good at routine, keeping up with routines, almost like that just kind of a earth sign thing, not quota, but MO, to kind of keep up with daily routines, such as the Taurus and even the Capricorn. All right, they're disciplined. Capricorn is disciplined in their routine. Taurus, they're just comfortable with routine. But Virgos, how they kind of approach routine in an efficient way. All right, so imagine like a manager of a factory, and this person, or even a supervisor. All right, the supervisor's whole thing is to make sure that everything is flowing correctly, and all the people who are working to the highest efficiency. All right, so that's kind of the Virgo's MO. All right, so that's their approach. So they feel their way of approaching the day-to-day routine, once again, is all about, it's like efficiency. So it goes back down to that. All right, so who rules, what sign or what animal rules the Virgo? So the Virgo is ruled by a virgin. All right, the virgin. So oftentimes you see the virgin woman. All right, so that's kind of that purity mindset. When you see the typical Virgo, they're often smiling. All right, they have a nervous energy, and they're often nervous about certain things, but they're smiley at the same time. They're very friendly people, but they're also very smart. So Geminis, when it comes to communication, once again, Geminis are tend to dealing with, as far as communication, what was happening in the game, who was at the party, just mundane stuff. Like who is so and so, the gossip. You go to the Gemini for these types of things, or in terms of that style of communication. Virgos, so you could also say Sagittarius is like this, but Sagittarius approach to communication is a little bit different from the opposite, which is Gemini. So Sagittarius, they tend to be higher knowledge. All right, they think about the theories of the principles of society, such as laws or religion. You know, whatever is of higher knowledge that you can find within a book. So Virgo is very similar to this like manner, but not so much the higher knowledge, but what is practical. You know, what is practical to use in our day-to-day life. You know, such as, all right, so I'm gonna learn everything that I need to know about that I need to know in this classroom so that I can be successful in this class. So they're kind of like the book nerds or the book smart people. All right, so you know how they're street smart, which is kind of like Gemini. They know all the ins and outs of what's going on, what's happening in the streets. Virgo is all about the classroom. All right, typically speaking. So it could be classroom, and many classrooms can appear in many different forms in our lifetime. All right, so it doesn't have to be like a four-corner room with desk, and you have a blackboard and a teacher kind of teaching you a subject they themselves don't use. All right, so your streets or how your classroom could be even the streets. All right, so it's a little bit different than how the Geminis will approach the streets. However, yours is still, as a Virgo, yours is still kind of on the someone showed you this, or you had this kind of like Kobe Bryant. All right, he's a Virgo, and he kind of had to study Michael Jordan. So he studied Michael Jordan, mimic all his moves, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in order to be, in my opinion, the GOAT, which I'm not saying Kobe Bryant is or not, but you gotta pull from the ether itself, and that's kind of like what Michael Jordan did. He did his own thing. All right, so he did his own thing, kind of pulled from the ether his inspirations. Now, he was inspired by other people before him, but to put it together and make your own, that's what you call a genius. So talent, like, that's different from Kobe Bryant, which is kind of talented. And typically what you'll see in Virgo is that they kind of, you know, I wouldn't say it's directly copy somebody else, because there is hints of geniuses there. I'm not trying to limit you, but typically they're more so they had to see it to actually do it. And that's kind of the Virgo's approach when it comes to most things, especially when it comes to education, which is why they're very book smart. So they read it from a book, and they're able to kind of, you know, pull from what they can see as their standard. All right, let's see how much time. Okay, I'm 7 minutes. All right, so that being said, all right, so I talked about communication. What are the challenges that Virgo will be forced to face? And the challenges that a Virgo has to face in this lifetime is dealing with other people. All right, so sometimes Virgo may feel like they're the smartest ones in the room, which may be correct, book smart wise, right? So there's different types of intelligence. So that's not just one, but traditionally speaking, yes, Virgos tend to be smarter, you know, because they're very bright, you know, students. If there is anyone of the zodiac houses or the zodiac life signs, I mean, that are the students of the zodiac, it would be the Virgos. All right, so they're typically, and not always, it depends on the moon sign, Mercury, and so on and so forth, but they're typically one of those students who are just like timely, get their work done, and they tend to be bright students. Sometimes they're smart alecks, but you know, it's kind of like Lisa Simpson from The Simpsons. I would say that if I had to just pick a character from that show who was a Virgo, it would be Lisa Simpson, or even that girl from Harry Potter, Hermione. So that's kind of like the typical their sign, kind of stylistically how to communicate and appear to others as that smart aleck student. All right, so once again, there's challenges is to deal with people who they consider dumb, right? So you're dealing with people and you're dealing with situations, and it just seems like everybody around you just dumb. They're just not as intelligent as you are. All right, so your challenge in this life is not to see anyone as dumb. Everyone is intelligent in their own way. Start to, you know, and another thing about Virgo is that they're very nitpicky. You know, they come across as critical, but typically what it is that Virgos, they're nitpicky because they try to make you better. So it's kind of like, you know, you see someone like a brother or a sister, and you know they dress trashy. They haven't, you know, washed in a couple of days, and they're not really doing the best that they can do. So you take it upon yourself to show them self love or tough love, and you be nitpicky and say you need to take a shower because you stink. You need to get your life together because you're just slowly are losing it. You know, you're the one who kind of tells people how it is, not in the same way that Sagittarius is. So Sagittarius, they tell their truth, maybe not the truth. All right, yours is more of on more in a practical way rather than the fiery Sagittarius way. So you're nitpicky in that, not trying to tell people the truth per se, but what you believe will help make them better. All right, so that's kind of the sounds, the Virgo approach. But your task is to be like, once again, is to learn other people's style of communication. You know, other people's forms of not education, but intelligence. And not only that, but when it comes to being nitpicky, just be tactful in your nitpicky. Don't, you're one of the ones who gives unsolicited feedback. All right, so you just feel like your opinion is going to be helpful, and everyone's going to take it right. And that's not the truth. That's not always the truth. All right, so your task is to try to see through other people's eyes. If you can, I know it's going to be challenging, and see their points of intelligence, because there's a lot of different forms of intelligence out there. So it's not just learning from a book, all right? Not just learning what you read somewhere or what someone else showed you, but some people, say for example, may not be good at basketball. They might be good at football. They might not be good at sports at all. And they might be better at sciences, or they might be in life, for example. There are some very intelligent guys when it comes to moving. Like moving things out of a truck, they can do it faster than anybody else and make it look easy. Whereas you're smart behinds in that truck, let's say working at UPS, and you're trying to clear this truckload, but you're sweating yourself off, your balls off. And this other person who may not have a degree like you do, he's able to empty that truck like it's nothing. It makes it easy. It's not even that he's just stronger or faster than you are. He's just smarter at unloading the truck than you are, because that's just something that he knows more on. And so that's where he's intelligent at. And and it goes beyond that as well. So your goal or your objective or challenge is to overcome that. All right, you're not the smartest person in the room. You just have you're smart in some ways. All right, you're smart as far as the sensible five senses allows you to perceive. But life is so much beyond that, so much beyond our perception. All right, so I'm going off on a tangent, with Virgo, but I got more signs coming up. Next up will be the sign of Libra, so stay tuned for that. If you like what you heard here, like and subscribe, comment what you feel like Virgos are good are here to do. Do you know any Virgos? Are they challenged with some of the things that I mentioned and brought up here? How do you overcome it? All right, so to overcome it, once again, Virgos, to get to your highest level of the crown chakra, is to see through the eyes or the intelligences or communication styles of others. Once again, this is Crown Vic signing out.